This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, after skipping last year's event, Dunedin's Vogel Street Party is set to return bigger and brighter tomorrow. A transport lobby group is pleased with the idea of bus services being governed by the Dunedin City Council. And law professor Paul Ross' 30-year career at the University of Otago came to a close this week. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. After skipping last year's event, Dunedin's Vogel Street Party is set to return bigger and brighter tomorrow. The region is getting a soaking under a brutal low-pressure weather system, but organisers say the day-long street carnival is going ahead in all weathers.
Dunedin's Water Street living up to its name today, as preparation began this morning for tomorrow's Vogel Street Party 2019.
No chance. We're going to go ahead regardless. This is the Dunedin way. We find if that we're going to postpone, we're just going to postpone it into probably even worse weather. So we're going to just persevere. We've got a significant amount more of shelter and marquees that we've invested in than we have in previous years, so we should have a lot more shelter. Music will still be happening. There'll be still indoor events and workshops, installations around for people to view. So for us, really, it's just about getting in and doing it regardless of the weather.
Vogel Street Party chairperson Brendan Christie says there wasn't a party last year for a couple of reasons.
We just needed to sort of get a bit more of a semblance of the trust, just try to get our governance right and then try to bring some new people in, some new blood and some new ideas, and I think we've done that this year, and we're going to continue doing it in the future.
Traffic management systems were out in force, leaving road cones and parking spaces and notes on cars advising drivers of the road closure. And speaking this morning, Christie says their hard work is set to start later this afternoon.
And once a lot of the cars are out of the area and people go home from work, and that's when we get busy, sort of about 5 o'clock onwards, we start to get all the infrastructure in and get it all ready.
The Vogel Street Party begins tomorrow at 2 p.m. with 5 stages of live music, a host of electronic acts including a silent disco, as well as more kids' entertainment than you can shake a clown at. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Police are still working to establish the cause of a fatal crash outside Outram near Dunedin on Tuesday. The accident saw 15-year-old Mosgiel teenager Jade Cummins and Waihola truck driver Stephen McNee lose their lives. A 17-year-old youth believed to have been in the ute was critically injured in the crash. Police say one of the roads is controlled by a compulsory stop sign, and they are still piecing together the direction of travel of each vehicle. A toxicology test of vehicle occupants is also a factor police are investigating. Police say they understand there is a community that is grieving, and at this stage they cannot give an exact time as to how long the investigation may take. A Dunedin-based passenger transport lobby group is pleased the idea of bus services could be governed by the Dunedin City Council, not the Otago Regional Council. At this week's final DCC meeting of the triennium, Aaron Hawkins raised the issue, gaining support from fellow councillors.
It could be all change for Dunedin's bus service. Lobby group Busco are pleased the Dunedin City Council discussed the DCC taking over governance of the buses from the Regional Council.
People know, people who use the buses in Dunedin know the City Council a bit better. They know their councillors, they know where the City Council is if they have a problem. So we just think it's a bit more accessible for users to be able to go into the City Council and sort out their problems.
Busco spokesperson Alex King says the idea of the DCC looking after buses instead of the Regional Council was floated by Aaron Hawkins, but it's not a new idea.
He's floated the idea of moving the governance of the buses from the ORC, from the Regional Council where it currently is, into the Dunedin City Council, and it's actually been something that's been on the sort of drawing board I think for a long time. Like back in 2014 it was actually raised by the Regional Council.
King says there's been improvement in the service on the buses, but the journey is not over yet.
The Regional Council have done a good job in terms of, over a long period of time, over 10 years or more, the quality of buses has really improved. You know, we've got wheelchair accessible buses, you know, just the technology that's come in, and some technology that's planned to come in the near future, which has been a sort of long-term gradual improvement by the Regional Council.
He believes the DCC will communicate with users better than the ORC has in the past.
Things I don't say great under the Regional Council, well, under the bus service, I sort of untidy things, the way they've changed the routes, sometimes not told people. They haven't really been in contact with the users as much as we'd like, and so hopefully that's something the City Council could do better.
He says the cost of bus trips and concession tickets still prohibits people from taking the bus. Alex King says Bus Go Dunedin intends to lobby the new councils when they're in office. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A historic sod cottage just north of Balclutha has been targeted by thieves. Vintage cast iron cookware was stolen from the 161-year-old cottage at Lovell's Flat recently. A member of the South Otago Historical Society made the discovery when he went to mow lawns on Monday. The Society has been looking after the cottage since 1970, and in that time only one thing had been stolen. The thieves cut a large hole in the security grille inside the cottage and stripped the chimney display area of all the cast iron tools. The incident has been reported to the police. Law Professor Paul Roth's 30-year career at the University of Otago came to a close this week. Students and fellow faculty members leapt into applause as Professor Roth gave his last lecture on Thursday.
Rapturous applause to his last lecture at the end of a 30-year career. More than 100 University of Otago law students and staff burst into prolonged applause after Professor Paul Roth gave his last lecture at Otago University on Thursday. Professor Roth says while his stress levels will drop, he's going to miss the teaching and research side of the job.
Yeah, you can specialise. That's the beauty about academia. You can do whatever you like. You know, you can specialise in something, and well, for the teaching, you can maintain connections with what you're doing. So I teach data protection, but there's a human rights element to that, and it's relevant to employment law. You know, what you put up in Facebook, the employer can look at, or human rights, do about a week on workers' rights and freedom of association, and tort law is very important in that area, suing corporations for mistreatment of foreign workers.
He says teaching at a university has a lot more administration in it than when he first started.
With the university, you're pretty much doing all your IT work, unless you can wait a little bit. But there's a lot of work that's being done now by staff in the university that we used to have admin people do. And I don't know about the wisdom of paying professors a lot of money to do that kind of work, but I see that increasing going into the future.
Professor Roth doesn't officially retire until April, so will continue to work on research projects until then. He's also planning a shift to Wellington with more travel, including to Italy, so he can strengthen his knowledge of Italian. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, a popular Dunedin intersection is set to become more accessible for wheelchair users, and we continue our series of interviews with Stephen Woodhead about his time at the Otago Regional Council, so see you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Welcome back. After years of waiting, Dunedin woman Fiona Russell is now looking forward to crossing the road with a bit more ease. Dunedin City Council contractors began work last week, which will make the crossing at the Hillside Road and King Edward Street intersection much more accessible for wheelchair users.
Over a year ago, Dunedin woman Fiona Russell described trying to navigate Cargill's Corner intersection in her electric wheelchair as pretty diabolical. She has at times had her wheelchair caught in the gutter, unable to move, facing traffic as the lights change. A frightening prospect for someone who cannot just leap out of their wheelchair and pull it back to the curb.
I have to go on an angle, not straight on, because if I go straight on, my wheels get stuck.
Council contractors began work last week to make the curbside guttering more suited for her type of wheelchair. Disability Information Service Advisor John Marable says wheelchairs such as Russell's get stuck in the gutter at Cargill's Corner because of antiquated legislation.
Fiona's wheelchair is a very wide and heavy wheelchair, and the legislation from 2001 doesn't suit the wheelchair, so you have contractors go to put a curb ramp out and they follow the legislation, but it is totally impracticable.
While Russell is looking forward to no longer risking getting snagged in the gutter, she says the traffic lights do not allow enough time for wheelchairs to cross.
It's going to be much easier, but I wished it was a barn dance, because they've taken the barn dance away.
The Dunedin City Council has said a barns dance is not justified for the intersection as pedestrian numbers are low and it would create longer traffic queues. But Russell believes South Dunedin has more disabled people than elsewhere in the city, and Cargill's Corner presents a major challenge for many of them.
Put it this way, I reckon people in wheelchairs, scooters, blind people need to have more good way to handle how to get over the road safely.
Unfortunately, there are several other places in the city that give wheelchair users grief. While the Wall Street Mall was excellent for wheelchair users to get around in, being dropped off by a taxi van with a hoist at the St Andrew Street entrance can be fraught due to the narrow street and lack of space.
When the taxis pull up, they do not have any room to unload us, because where the curbing is to put us up on, there's usually a car on the place they want to drop us off.
Marable has already seen some concept designs for improving access to Wall Street.
What they're going to do is extend the island out so that the taxi van will be able to drive over the island and then use that island to lower the hoist down, and then it's going to be a flat transition from the island onto the pavement.
Marrable says he's been working towards helping the council and contractors understand the issues people in wheelchairs encounter at road crossings.
I'm starting to work closely with the guys in DCC, and we're going out shortly to have a look at crossings, saying this is how we can improve things, and we're going to get contractors out as well and give them ideas.
He says, thanks to people such as Fiona Russell, regularly asking the council when they will improve particular parts of the city's intersections and footpaths, that changes are slowly happening. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After 9 years as chairman of the Otago Regional Council, Stephen Woodhead is passing the baton. In this series of interviews, he discusses the challenges for the council tasked with protecting the region's environment. Woodhead says the push for cleaner environments has taken a mental and economic toll on some Otago farmers.
We need to love our farmers. They do a fantastic job. Everything we eat and wear and drive, a farmer has had an impact on in some way. You know, whether it's your leather shoes, your woolen singlet, or the meat and vegetables that you have for dinner, whether it's chicken, fish, or somebody somewhere, a farmer and a processor has been part of that. They are a hugely important part of our economy, and the environmental challenges we've got, we're all need to take ownership of as New Zealanders. I live on the side of the main road, State Highway 1, about 8 kilometres south of Milton. You want to see the rubbish that gets thrown out of the windows of cars that are in our water table every day of the week. Fish and chip packets, coffee cups, plastic, there's just tons of it. And we can criticise the impacts of land use, for example farming, but have a look at the cigarette butts that get washed down the gutter and end up in the harbour in the stormwater system. We're all part of this. We need to stop the them and us and face up to the fact that we're New Zealanders and we all have an impact on the environment. There is an environmental cost for the lifestyle that we have. We live in a very safe and healthy country. We've got a good education system and on the whole a good health system. And if we want to continue with that lifestyle, then we need to look after our environment, but we all need to take responsibility. From, you know, somebody washing their car on the side of the street has an impact. It should be parked on grass so that the detergents and the heavy metals don't end up in the stormwater system, which go directly to the harbour or estuary or river. Just in the same way that a farmer needs to manage the winter grazing and the impacts on his business.
And you can see more of the interview with Stephen Woodhead online at odt.co.nz. After the break on the South Today, we see what the weekend's weather has in store for you and whether you need your umbrellas or not. So stay with us.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Miller's Flat Bakery, proudly opening this Labour weekend after a long labour of love. The Restoration Trust has brought back to life this historic part of the main Central Otago transport route. Come see the only wood-fired bakery oven in New Zealand. Turn off at the Miller's Flat Blue Bridge and bring the whole family to enjoy some tasty fresh baked goods the old-fashioned way, before electricity. That's the Miller's Flat Bakery opening Labour weekend.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Thanks for staying with us. Dunedin's Dundas Street Bridge was set to open for pedestrians today, but hit a snag with the weather. Flood work by the Otago Regional Council has completely blocked the bridge since late February. Initially, the bridge was expected to reopen in July, but the council found extra work was required. The bridge was set to open for pedestrians today, but inclement weather has delayed the opening until tomorrow. The Leith Flood Protection Scheme has spanned more than a decade, and the bridge is expected to fully open for vehicles in November. Work is set to continue in the river near the bridge, but this would be unlikely to impact vehicles or pedestrians. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. After skipping last year's event, Dunedin's Vogel Street Party is set to return bigger and brighter tomorrow, rain, hail or shine. A transport lobby group is pleased with the prospect of bus services being governed by the Dunedin City Council, should it come to pass. And law professor Paul Ross' 30-year career at the University of Otago came to a close this week. He was celebrated by students and peers. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig Page. What have you got for us?
Good evening. We're going to start everyone's weekend off with a lovely story. It's about a Mosgiel couple, Alan and Dorothy Rennie, who are celebrating 70 years of marriage with some festivities over the weekend. It all started when Dorothy apparently needed someone to partner to a dance, and her mother insisted she go next door and ask the grocer's son, who just happened to be Alan, and it took about 9 attempts to wander into the store and pluck up the courage. 70 odd years later and 4 children, it's all history, I guess. It's a really nice story and well worth a read. Local body elections, of course, big weekend throughout the country, particularly in Dunedin, where we are looking at a new mayor, regardless of who gets in. We'll have live updates on that on our website from about mid-afternoon tomorrow going into the evening, so if people want to keep up to date of who's in and who's not, that's the place to go.
Fantastic.
Weekend mix as well. We look at freedom of speech and talk to Professor Jim Flynn, asking if people are too easily offended these days. And I think if you look at social media, the answer is probably yes. And sport, no All Blacks, with the cancellation of their All Black match at the World Cup, but also a lot of interest in whether Japan and Scotland match get underway on Sunday. It's going to be vital for both teams, really. They both need a win to secure a place in the quarterfinals. So
and a really interesting game too, because Japan's been quite exciting to watch.
Oh, stars of the tournament, really. Of course, coached by a couple of former Highlanders coaches as well, so a lot of interest down this way. But yeah, it would be nice to see them get up over Scotland. They did at the last World Cup, managed to win 3 games, but not do enough to qualify for quarters, so we're trying to go one better. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Otago's playing Northland as well. Final round of the NPC before the playoffs as well, so we're wishing them the best.
Good luck, Otago. And you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at tomorrow's weather and naturally the weekend's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a Dunedin supermarket's car park retaining water with the persistent rain. Looking at the situation, an unusual weather situation has brought plenty of rain to southern districts in the last couple of days, and it will take a day or two more before it clears. At least the weather should become fine later on Sunday. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect grey skies, showers and 16 degrees. Okay, moving to the northeast, where Nelson and Blenheim are also due for cloudy skies, rain and 17 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, expect cloudy skies across this area with showers or rain for most. Kaikoura 13 and Christchurch should reach 12, with Ashburton heading for 10 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, you can all expect strong southeasterlies and rain. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all due to reach just 7 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, you can plan for gusty southeasterlies and rain. Unpack the winter woolies and thick coats. Wanaka and Queenstown only manage 7 degrees. Alexandria, you're heading for 8, and Tiana, you're also set for 7 degrees. Up to the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru can look forward to variable winds, showers and 10 degrees. It should also be wet and land. You can expect thunderstorms as well, with Twizel and Marama looking at moderate northerlies and rain with a high of 10 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy and cold tonight with an overnight low of 7 degrees. Expect periods of rain with moderate to fresh southeasterlies. Plan for a high of 8 and a low of 6. Rain clearing on Sunday morning, but remaining cloudy and cold with light northeasterlies, looking at a high of 9 and a low of 6. And in Invercargill, cloudy with periods of rain tonight and an overnight low of 6. Cloudy with periods of rain tomorrow. It's cold, but rain clears tomorrow night with a high of 7 and a low of 6. And it's a dry day on Sunday with cloud breaking and a few sunny periods managing to sneak through. Gusty easterly winds decreasing, a high of 10 and a low of 7. That's all from the South Today team for this Friday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and a lovely weekend. Stay dry. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.